Great. So while Eric shares, I want you to invite, if you haven't done it yet, to invite your IT people, because today's session, the 4 sessions we have today are really relevant for IT people. In case you have an extended invitation to them, you can even share the link to the training if they have some time to join or to listen in the background while they work.
Yeah. So then, Martha, do we give like a few minutes, or we can?
I think we can start, and then the recordings will be available anyways. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So thank you. So I'm a web developer here at TikTok, and we have been developing our online products for quite some time. So we are still developing some systems to visualize information, and also updating the website to contain new information as we get them. So it's a process that never ends. We started it, but we continuously, add content, design new pages, add new designs, add new layouts. So yeah. So yeah, so these are some of the things that you want to check out when you're developing your website. Some of the things you put in mind. You might not be the one developing at your, at your office, but maybe you hired someone to do the same. So you'll want to make sure that you have the structure of your website, like how it will look like, the content of all the pages that you're planning to look. Usually, what happens most, you find that for example, the communications office has an idea of what the website should look like, but they leave everything to the developer who they hire. For example, they bring someone from a consultancy, and then they tell him to develop the website. So you find that everything lies on the developer's hands. So he or she or them, they go looking at the previous website, and then they structure the content themselves. And what happens is that they will end up with the same website that was maybe there previously, but with maybe a few changes in the looks and all. So it's really important that, for example, the communications office sit with the developers. They structure the website the way it is maybe currently, and how they like it to look after everything is done. So that's the first point you'll want to make sure. So I will share with you how we did ours. So the other point is a user-friendly interface is very important. So in terms of the look and feel, you should make it look modern. You don't want to look like your website is still in the 1990s, and technology is moving. So in this way, it's always good to try and benchmark what other agencies are doing out there, other organization, UN organization, to just have a look at the trends, the modern trends, how people are doing their website. So for us, we benchmarked quite a number of websites, and from there we were able to pick, the best parts or what we thought they did good, and then we were able to join them to come up with a design that looks, good. And yeah, your content should be easy to navigate. Your users should be able to find information quickly. You don't want users to come looking for weather forecast, and then they are stuck looking for it for a long time. So the placement of the content, the placement of the navigation bar, it should be very conspicuous in a way that you can, move quickly from one page to another, and you can search and find information easily. So the experience, then it should also be good. This goes hand in hand with the placement of the content and also the interface. You want that your users, when they come to the website, they feel they are looking at, something good, and they're able to, the general experience when a user comes to the website should be good. Another point is on the content management. I'll talk more about this one, but basically you want the way you update content at your website to be very easy. Updating, putting, it should be decentralized, such that staff can manage different sections of their websites. Doesn't have to be like one person managing everything. And then you should have a moderation and publishing workflow, so that there's content input, there's moderation, there's someone who moderates and sees if it's, because this is information going to the public, you want that information you put there is the correct information. So there should be some kind of moderation. And also the content should not be stale. It should be regularly updated. You don't want someone to come to look for the forecast for June, and then they find that the last time you updated the forecast is in February, So it should be regularly updated. And another point, should be available 24/7 on the cloud. So nowadays people put their content on the cloud, but I know some of us, we might have servers on our organizations, and you might be you are at a position to host this on your own servers, but we had challenges with that with our website. We were hosting it at our Equipack servers, but usually power will go out and the website can go off, like it's not available for almost the whole day. So it's really important to make sure that your website is up and available so that it can be reached at any moment. So yeah, this is an example of the structure that you'll want to have. So just like TikTok, for example, we had the homepage, like the main page, and then we drew out the different pages. We grouped them into services pages, for example, climate forecasting, agriculture, and food security. So those were the services, and then we had the products. So the products are like what we give to the users. The services are like the umbrellas of how we work at the organization. The products are like what we deliver to people. For example, the forecast, alerts, policy, like most like products that people see, and then they apply them to make decisions and all those. Yeah. And then media pages, this is where you put like the news and press releases and all those. And then organization pages, this was now a group for more internal stuff like the events, the tender, something that is more on the organization side than the public facing, like the tenders, the vacancies and all about the organization and all those. So when you are designing, it took us quite some time to get it right. Uh, the first thing is to try and find good designers, people who can design, who can take your thoughts and then develop them into good, designs. Outsourcing might be necessary. You might find that you don't have this capacity in your organization. So it's really important to try and find, I know this is where the challenge might be, to find some funds to hire good consultants who can help you in your journey. And then you need to have a team in place. As I said earlier, you don't want to leave everything to the developers when they come in. You want to work with them hand in hand. So for example, you can see here, this was us, me with Martha and the other colleagues trying to put this, sketching stuff on papers, which will go into this structure. So we were trying to just sketch, and then we scan the images, we send to the developers, and then we work with them together hand in hand. So we did quite a number of pages. This is just a sample I'm showing here. And then with this one, we brought the developers, or rather the designers who are helping us in the design. They were able to get the whole picture of what we really wanted to achieve. So in this way, it was easier for us to explain to them. First of all, we told them, okay, this is the website we had initially, and then this is what we want to achieve. So we want this content to go here. We want the map to be this place. We want the images to be placed somewhere. We want the events to flow in this order. So in this way, they are able to tell us what they have in mind, and they also get what we have in mind, and they can tell us the designs that exist, or they can even improve on what we have. So in this way, we are able to continuously iterate. So you'll find that this is not the final. You might have some ideas, and then something might change. You might want to change the placement of some content, changing the font sizes. Those small things are really important to look at them and make sure the website flows and it looks nice. It's homogeneous in some way. You don't want to place a different content that the typography is different on this section, and then it's different on the other. So after, so these are the sketches, and then these are now the kind of like final design. To reach somewhere like this, it took us quite some time. So it's good to understand that these things take time. Developing good things takes time, and designing. So it took us quite some time, almost like 5 or 6 months, trying to just get the first designs out there, and trying to now seeing the content coming together. So it's good to also have patience. I know what happens in some organizations. In general, they hire a developer and then they give him like 1 month to do everything. So in this way, you'll find that it might not be enough time to try and get something good. What will happen is that the developers will be under pressure, or the designers, to come up with something, and then they will not do something good. You'll just end up with what you had originally, and it might not get you where you really wanted to be as an organization. So it's good to understand that these things is a process. It takes time, and it's not something you just do over the weekend and you get it done. I know most people know that you can get like templates out there and sit over the weekend and have a website up and running. While it's true, you can get some of these templates, but it might not fit the purposes for the organization.
Yeah, and the
Mhm.
templates, right, Eric? Templates are more for like a very, very simple website, like your portfolio, or
Exactly.
like very, very simple, not for like institutions like the meteorological departments who are so data heavy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really important to understand your website and to also understand your content. If you understand your content and you know what people want to, what people are coming to look at your website, then you are at a very good position to develop a good website. A website is somewhere that when people don't find information on social media, or you are posting, someone who is not following you, someone who comes, is the first impression they love about your organization. They mostly come to find authoritative information on your website from your organization. So it's really important that you give that impression to the users that you are doing something that is really good, and you are serious about it. So by having a good structured website with information placed where it should be, it's really important. So yes, another point is on centralization of the management of the content. So yes, so another point is that you'll find that most organizations, they leave everything to the IT staff. So you find that the IT staff is the one that is inputting content. The IT staff is, maybe it's one person, the one moderating everything. It's one editing content, is one doing the maintenance. So that if you have, let's say you have a weekly forecast and you need to update it. So it means you'll have to, as the staff managing the forecast or producing the forecast, you have to bundle your images, for example, and your text, and then send them to the IT person as the one who goes and sees where the content goes to each section, and then they update it. So while this works for small organizations or small where you don't have a lot of staff, it's usually not a good way to do things, because in that way even delays comes in. You find that the IT person might be having some other things attending to, and you will have delays in, for example, putting the focus out there, which will avail people if they came to the website and looked for it. So it's really important to decentralize this management to the different staff who then can manage the different sections of your website. So for example, you can have the people who are producing the forecast being the people also updating the section that is relevant for putting the forecast on the website. So in that way, the IT staff can only just do the maintenance, and then you can have the communications people doing the moderation, making sure that the content looks okay, checking for spelling errors or something like that before the content is published. So in this way, you'll find that your content is updated as quickly as possible. As soon as it's available, the relevant staff logs into the content management system and they just update it. And you will receive notifications. For example, as the moderator, you receive a notification that someone updated or added content, and then you are able to moderate it. So it's really important to have that workflow, to have this kind of workflow in your website management, so that there's input of content, and then there's moderation, and then there's publication. So when you put content, you must have a way to notify the moderators. So this also comes down to the type of the type of technology you're applying to build your website. You know, the kind of content management system you're picking, the kind of you know, the technologies, the programming languages we're using, and all those. So usually what people go to nowadays, or what people used to use, is or things like WordPress or Joomla or such, because they are quick to get started. You know, you just go quickly, you get a template from somewhere, and then you put it there. But it's you should think beyond that. You should look at some things that you need to, for example, on receiving notifications if some content was uploaded. You know, as a moderator, you should have that kind of workflow in place, and the CMS should be able to support that kind of functionality. So the first thing, of course, is to be able to manage the users who are accessing the website. So you should have a way to assign roles. You should have a way to assign who manages which section, how they log in. If they forget their password, they should have a way to update their website. It should not be that only the IT person is the one who has credentials to access the server, and then if it's not there or it's not available, or he or she is on leave, then nothing happens. You know, like you have to wait until the person comes back from leave, which is not a very good way to do it. So when you are picking the technologies, please go also again at something that you can iterate, you know, something that is open source, and you are able to develop some of the components that you don't have available. Most of the websites don't come with everything, you know, or templates or existing frameworks out there. They don't come with everything. You will realize that some of the things you want, they don't come already developed, and you have to sit down and see how to develop them on your own, on your CMS, for example. So it's good to go with a framework that allows you to extend the functionalities that you have, and you can add on top of what they on top of what's available, you can add your own functionalities that you desire. So for example, for us, we wanted a CMS that can, you know, enable us to manage our events on the website. So we wanted something that can keep records of people attending or registering for events. And then it should allow us to export this data, maybe for further analysis or importing to our, you know, our user management database. And it will, so these other two functionalities, we didn't have them. So we had to, you know, sit down and see how to best do integrations with other external systems. So for example, we wanted that mostly nowadays we do these meetings online. So it's good to when people register, you also add them to Zoom. You don't want to do it manually. You want when someone registers from your website, for example, the process you undertook to come to this, to register to this event, you registered on the website, and then you received a notification from Zoom. So how it works is that we had an integration from our website, which when you give your details for a meeting, the details are saved, and then we connect with Zoom using a custom integration. Some of these products, they have APIs, which allows you to connect them to them through external systems. So we take that information and then we send it to Zoom directly. So in that way, you see, it's very easy to connect to some of these existing external systems. So that functionalities was not available. It might be available using plugins and all, other available integrations. But for us, we had to develop it. So that's why we went for an open source framework that you are able to build on top of it. So it's also important that you start building capacity, or you have developers in-house who can assist in some of these integrations, someone who has knowledge on how this website should work or the functionalities on the websites how should work, and then they can program code scripts to do some of these functionalities. So so when you're hiring an IT person, it's really important to look at their skills, tell them some of these things that you want to achieve, and generally have someone who has the capacity to extend the functionalities that you have at your on your website. So you don't want to, for example, hire someone and then the website is never maintained, or it never moves. It's like the way it was previously. So it's really important to be making these small decisions of updating the functionalities and adding new things to the website. So another thing we did was the integration with the MailChimp. So we realized that if we allow our users to select which products they want to receive, I think this they want to receive. We talked about this one on the first day, but yeah, if we allow them to select the products they want to receive, in that way, we also get subscribers to our mailing list. And yeah, it has really been a good experience. Martha, do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, like we mentioned yesterday, that it was like a really big source of growth for us, that when people register to our online events, we also ask them whether they want to subscribe to our products and to our different types of climate information. And that was a huge source of growth. So we really encourage you to integrate your registration form on your website for online events or for trainings or anything with your email marketing software. And like Eric, I mentioned yesterday that like if they have some doubt in terms of how to do it, they can reach to us also after the training on Slack, so we can chat on maybe what are your best options with the technologies that you're currently using.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, if you do all those integrations, your content is okay, then like your users will be growing. This is our MailChimp. You can see from the start we had very few subscribers, but you can see each month, we are getting additional subscribers from the events and the registration. So it has really been a good integration from our side. So what I'm going to do now is to try and show you how our CMS looks like. For example, this is not the CMS, but the pages the process that you are undergoing while developing our website. So we had like a document. We created a whole folder on Google Drive where we put all the content, and this way we were able to share with the designers. So we grouped the different services that I was talking about, at TikTok, the different products, different on media, the sections under media. So in this way, we were able to have a mind map, of the different pages, and we were able to add the functionalities that we needed. You can also see that we have a way to track which ones have been developed here, and using these kinds of colors that we add. This way you are able to add the different sections, and you're also able to monitor how the content is being developed. So this is just a list, and then you have now you have different pages for the different you have contents or documents for different pages that you're designing. So this was the home page. You are putting screenshots, the icons, just to get or to give the designers an idea and to enable us to have a general view of what you want to achieve, and then you're able to iterate. So this was the initial thinking, but you realize that a lot changed from these designs until you have like this final website. But yeah, from the designs here, you're able to see it looks like almost similar to what we wanted to achieve. So
Yeah, maybe just Eric, we can mention that we're really hammering the developers of the agency. So like you really need to guide very, very, very well the agency that you hire, because you are the ones that know which services you give, which products you give. You need to have a very clear idea of your value addition. Where is your value? Why do like users come to you? Like what products do they prefer? And then you conceptualize your website based on that, and also based on user needs, so that you need to know very well your users. You shouldn't organize your website as you think that it should be organized. Like for instance, we with an organization we often work with, they were conceptualizing the website based on their departments. So they wanted the website to be a complete reflection of how the chart of the organization is, but that didn't reflect the information that users needed. So that was a mistake. So you should be very clear on what, like Eric just said as well, that you need to design something that is useful for users. People don't really care how your departments are structured. It needs to be service oriented. That's really important. Service oriented.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a very important point. So yeah, and also you should there are some action things that you want people to to do on your website. For example, to subscribe to your website, to contact you, to change the languages. So for example, for us, we are using Google Translate to do the translations automatically. So it's really important to have these kinds of functionalities integrated in your website. So if you click on the languages here, you can switch, for example, to, let me try again. I don't know which language.
So you always need to think of accessibility of information for
Yes.
your users, right? It has to be accessible on the languages they understand.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, Google Translate doesn't have like some of the languages inside so they have just the main national languages of most countries.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a very good starting point. But if you want to go extra, you can have like if you have like a staff who can translate content before it's published. There's a way in some of the CMS, they provide a way to have like you have a page for English, and then you have a page for maybe French or something like that. So if you have that capacity, then you can go further and have one page that can be translated to many pages from the CMS side, not like automatically. But if you don't have that capacity, a good starting point is using Google Translate directly. So that's a very good starting point. And also another thing, you'll want to make sure that contact us is very visible, and people can send you information, or they can ask questions and all those. So you'll find that most organizations, they have this form, but it never works. Like it's just there. You try sending an email, no one ever gets it. So for us, what we did, we hooked this one using our CMS in a way that when someone sends a notification, the communication team receives the emails, and then they are able to forward it to the relevant department that maybe they need some data, for example, or they just need to contact someone in agriculture. So you can have a way to link to the information comes, and then you can link who receives those kinds of emails. So it's really important. We have been receiving quite a lot. And another important thing is that you should be able to filter out spam emails, so or contact us, so you don't have like people from I don't know where sending like some other messages you don't want. So you have to add things like the reCAPTCHA here to just confirm that the person who is sending the email or the message is really sending something that is, it's a human being. Some people use robots to just spam you and get your attention, and maybe you will share, or they assume that if they send a message here, then it will appear somewhere in your website. So in that way, you're able to give them visibility. Maybe it's ads or something like that. So it's really important to make sure that you're filtering your contact us form, so that you don't end up pulling it down because it's not helping you. So that's a really important point. And also subscribe should be very visible. So this is where you are also getting users, contacts to be coming to your website. So it's also, you want this to be easily visible from somewhere quickly. And then the search should also work. So if you search like for forecast, it should give you, the information. It should find information on a website and then display it. So it's really important also to take time to develop the search, optimize it very well, so that most people, when they don't find anything they want quickly, they just go to the search and then they search for information. So you want to make sure that it's working, and you can have a way to check how what people usually search. So, and also another thing to note, that search is also another place whereby people use it for spamming, unfortunately. So they send information and they put some links, and then they think it will appear somewhere, on their website. I don't know, maybe I can show you how that one looks like. But you can also use it to see what people usually search. For example, our CMS, it usually ranks what people search within a week. And then from it, you're able to fine tune, the searching, and even promote the search or the products that you want they search. For example, if there's an alert for floods, we want, when someone searches for floods, they see some relevant, maybe press release as the first one. So having a CMS that can enable you to do that is really important. So this is how our CMS looks on the back end. So it's using a framework developed in a Python language. It's called Wagtail, which is really, it's open source and it's really configurable. It helps you to, design your website, how it look like, the content. Updating is very easy. You don't have to have like IT technology to update your content. So in this way, you can have even someone who doesn't know anything about websites updating the website. It's very easy. So we have like pages on the left here, and this lists all the available pages on the website. And yeah, you can just go to any page and try updating it. So maybe I can go to the 10-day forecast. Where is it? Yeah, for example, the weekly forecast. If I go to each, to add a new page, you just need to click on add a child page, and this will add the forecast, but I'll show you the existing ones, how it looks like. And then I'll open the live version side by side. So, so this is the title that will go here, for example. So you can change it as you wish, or to reflect the current information that you'll be uploading. And then you select, for example, the starting date. This is the one that will apply on the filtering and all those. And also the end date for that forecast. And then now you can put the individual products in this way. To add a new product, for example, just click on add product on this button. And then we have a way to organize the different products on our site. So we can add new products. You don't have to call the developer again if you want to add a new products, for example, like hourly. If you want to be giving hourly updates, you don't want to call a developer so as to be able to integrate that product. You should have a way to define the products that you have and then be able to just pick them, and updating should be very easy. So for example, here we have a list of our products. If you want to add a new one, we can go to under snippets. There's a section and then you can add a new one. So here you can just pick which one you need. For example, the rainfall forecast. And then for us, we work in the IGAD region, so you can pick the country that is relevant. So we also allow like focus from other countries like Somalia to be added to our CMS. So you can pick which country, but if it's for the whole IGAD region, then you pick the region. So again, this is configurable. So if you click on edit, it takes you to this region or these snips. They are called snippets, and you can edit them and add new ones. So, and then you can choose the map, the PNG map, for example, the relevant one, and then you can put some analysis text, for example, here. So this allows you to update or, add content on how it look like. So you can type just anything, you can add images, you can bolden them. Then you can, if there's a document, for example, a PDF, you can upload a new one or search from existing ones. And then you can select it. For now, I don't want to put it. So what I'll do, maybe I'll just copy this text and put it there for a sample. And then once this one is okay, then I can submit it for moderation. So let me do something like, we have actions down here. If you are the admin, you can publish it. For example, from my side, I'm an admin. That's why I can see these options. But for just the normal staff who needs to update it, they will not have these options. They will have like a save draft or submit to moderator's approval. So maybe I can first of all save it as a draft, and then I can submit to moderator for approval. So maybe, Martha, do you receive these moderators' emails? Do you want to show how it looks like?
Yeah, maybe I can show. I also wanted to suggest, Eric, because it's 9:45, if we can maybe start taking some questions, and then we have the second session starting at 10.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah. Maybe I can, okay. Let me just remove this one so that it doesn't reflect there.
I can show my my screen, what Eric just mentioned. So because Eric just submitted, now I just received a message saying, "Hello, Marta, this page has been submitted for your moderation." And then just by clicking here, I can just publish or edit or preview how it looks and make any edits before it goes public.
Yeah, exactly. So Martha, we can start taking questions.
Yeah, we can take please questions from the ground to Eric. Doubts you have about how you go about it with your website. Yeah, anything. Feel free to raise your hands or unmute yourself.
Yeah, but you can also, if you have any questions later, you can shoot us
Yeah,
on.
Sote, yes. Sote, yeah.
Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Sote.
How are you?
Very good, Sote. So how do you do it in Burundi?
In Burundi, very okay. I am very interested with the presentation of Eric, but when I try to analyze what his trainer is training us, it is I can say in French, c'est le produit fini. I would like to, if it is possible, to get the code source, the source code,
okay,
so that we can manage our sections with that website and manage our department, so that we can be in the same level in the region. Thank you.
Thank you, Sote. So the produit fini is like the final product, right? So Sote is saying if we can think about a way to have a template or the code reused somehow by the national authorities. So this is something that we had already discussed with Eric, right? If that was, yeah.
Yeah, so right now the codes we have, they are specific for ICPAC. They're not very configurable to other sections, but the base framework we are using, it's open source, so we can share that. But we're also thinking of customizing having a customizable template that then can be shared. So you just update a few sections and then you are live. So that's something we are really looking forward to developing. Maybe in the coming days, we'll be sharing now the code that you can configure, and then, you know, it works. You can use it, and then you can change a few things, and then it should be live. So yeah, that's something we are looking to doing. But yeah, we can start sharing the base codes that you are using, and then you can use them in your own development. Yeah.
Another question. I am addressing to ICPAC. I would like to know if there is another training for IT managers, so in order to help some sections or service which doesn't have any website. Because when I try to analyze what is published by ICPAC is very interested, but to us, or some of us, there is no website which they have. There is no experts to reach them. Is it any project for ICT?
I think like a good question. Eric, what do you think? This is a question we can take on our plate and see whether we can organize maybe later or during summer, or maybe in September, something.
Yeah, I think we can plan and have a session maybe dedicated to the IT people, and then we can guide them on how to do some of these you know, design and development, and, you know, for us to even share what the practices we are doing, the codes that we have, and then I think they really help. So yeah, that's something I think we'll have to discuss, and then we can see the best timing and how to go about it.
Yeah, maybe also like programming languages, that would be good for IT staff to know. Yeah.
Yes, we hope that it will take a moment. It will take a moment.
Okay, great. We take that very seriously. So maybe September could be a good time to do that.
Okay, thank you.
I'm seeing a question. Someone sent me, Christopher from Kendi sent me a message. Is it possible to create a form that one can use to update data instead of inputting one by one? If you need for many towns, from which site can harvest for display? Yeah, so you can, it's very possible to develop these kinds of functionalities. You just need to very well define the functionalities you have, and then you can have a way to, you know, you can write a script that can fetch this information from somewhere, and then you can, you know, publish it on your own website. So it's something doable. You just need to define the process of doing it, and then to write for example, the code or the script to do that for you. So yeah, it's very doable, and it will just need like someone who understands the development of it and the programming, and then they can develop those kinds of forms. Yeah, so yeah, it's doable. Thank you. Martha, I think if you don't have any other question, we can go to
any other question? No more questions for Eric. Also, like, I mean, if you have, I see like Emmanuel has put South Sudan Meteorological Department. If you think of a question later on, or if you don't be ashamed of asking really anything to Eric, even if it seems like very simple question, feel free to ask. Okay, Mohammed Osman from Somalia. As I am ICT specialist, I agree to my bro. We request IT training to ICPAC. Okay, good. So like we see like there is some sort of need here of more ICT trainings in climate information dissemination. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah, I think like just if you think of more questions, or if you also like think it's good to have ICT training, post it in the chat. And I think we can introduce Jelmer and Anders from the Norwegian Meteorological Department. Is that correct?
Yes, hi. Yeah, the Norwegian Meteorological Institute, actually, to be completely correct. Thank you, Martha. Yes. So good morning, everyone. As said, my name is Jelmer Juring, and I am a researcher at the Norwegian Meteorological Institute. I am based in Bergen in Norway on the west coast. And I'm involved in several research projects in Africa, where I try to contribute to, for example, co-production of weather and climate services. This includes the CONFA project. I have myself a background in social sciences. And in my research, I try to better understand how weather forecasts are interpreted by different audiences and how to best convey the weather forecast so that it is understood by our users and to help them make the decisions that they need to make. So before we begin with this session, I just want to thank ICPAC and their partners for the opportunity to give this training session about best practices for developing weather apps. And especially, of course, about Met Norway's portal for weather information called UR, or YR. So in this training session, I will be joined by my colleague, Anders Schifle, who is the main responsible for UR at Met Norway. And honestly, there is probably no other person more knowledgeable about UR than him. So it's actually great that he's willing to join us today. And in the coming 45 minutes, we have some things on the menu for you. First, Anders will give a presentation about the history and the development of UR, and include several examples of the key ingredients that have made UR and especially the UR app as successful as it is currently. So after his presentation, we then hope to have a bit of a more interactive session where we spend some time to answer the questions that you may have about development and dissemination. So to do this as smoothly as possible, I would suggest to kindly use the chat function here and write any questions that you may have while Anders is presenting. And if you write those questions in the chat, we will handle them afterwards in the Q&A session once the presentation is finished. So yeah, I think we are good to go, and I would like to give Anders the floor now and ask him to share the screen for presenting some slides. So Anders, please go ahead.
Thank you, Hjalmar and Marta. I'll share my screen. This. And this. I hope you can see the whole presentation now.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, good. All right, Hjalmar already introduced me, so that's fine. I'll try to hold this presentation about UR, and I've been working with UR for many years. I took my PhD on how people interpret the forecasts on UR, and the last 4 years I've been leading the work at Met Norway with UR. I don't know the background of all of you, so I hope you can all find something interesting in the presentation.
Maybe Anders, just say something about the background of the people in the room. It's communication officers and public weather service of 10 countries in Eastern Africa. So the background is a mix of some people meteorology, some people communication. Yeah,
okay, that's good. I still hope it's something there for everyone. I will tell a little bit about the background of the collaboration first, and then, as Hjalmar said, about the development and how we work with UR. And the UR collaboration is between the Norwegian Meteorological Institute and the national broadcaster in Norway. And Met Norway is an old institute from 1866, and our main mission is, as many other institutes, to protect life and property. That is the main goal. And we have several websites, and one of them is for the governmental agencies, and the UR website is meant to be for the public. So we have a division between our partners and the public and how we present the information. This is the building to the national broadcaster in Norway, NRK, and they are hosting several websites, and UR is one of them. And we are located quite close. It's a 5-minute walk between the Meteorological Institute and the broadcaster. But the background we have collaborated with the broadcaster for I think almost 100 years for radio and then for TV weather. And in 2006, we had separate websites for weather. So the Meteorological Institute had their own website. You can see it to the left. And NRK, the broadcaster, had their own website or weather forecast on the web to the right here. And the presentation or the organization of the websites were mainly based on how the forecasts are produced, if it were a text forecast or satellite pictures or maps, or that was the organization of the websites. And the broadcaster had to buy the data, the weather data from the Meteorological Institute and make their own forecasts. But in 2006, 2007, the Director General of the Meteorological Institute decided that we started an open data policy. And all our data, all the weather data, were freely available to everyone. At the same time, NRK and MET decided to join forces also online and make a new website together, where the Meteorological Institute were responsible for delivering the data and the quality of the forecasts. And NRK got the responsibility for the design and the presentation of the forecasts. And they also had the editorial responsibility for news articles and these things on the website. Also new was that the forecast was decided to be location-based. People are interested in the weather and climate and the observations where they live and where they are, and they search for their place when they want to find the weather. So we have forecasts for 1 million places in Norway and 11 million places worldwide. If we look at the use of YR, this heat map shows that it is mainly used, of course, in Norway and Europe, but we have users from all over the world, also in many African countries. So YR got free and open data and forecasts for all locations in the world. And the development of the of YR is user focused. I will talk a little bit about how we work. And this is the YR family as it looks at the moment. We have a website which is adaptive to different screen sizes. So you can use it on your cell phone or computer or on TV, and it will adjust to the screen size. And we also have an app, or we have two apps, one for iOS and one for Android. And you can also use it on some watches, smartwatches. They are almost equally used, a little more users on the website than the app, but it's around 4 million users weekly on each of the platforms. And the content of the YR is it's varied. I will not go through this list, but you can of course find regular weather forecasts and warnings, nocasts and observations, and different types of forecasts. And when we work with YR, we have a clear thought about a division between the apps and the websites. It's not, the apps are not mirroring the websites. The apps have a selection of content. The idea is that people use the app to just check the forecast when they're on their way out, or maybe when they are out. So the focus on the app is the forecast and the nowcast. but when people are spending more time and maybe planning for some activities, they use the website and they look for more details. And maybe they look for historical data, they read news articles, and you have a lot of more information on the websites than the apps. As I told you earlier, it's NRK that got the main responsibility for the design. We have meetings every 14 days. We meet between NRK and MET to discuss the development. So we agree about everything, but NRK is leading the design, and this is how they think when they design new services on YR. That the main thing on YR is, of course, weather. So that is the top priority. And it needs to be user-oriented. So you have to always think who you make things for, and you have to test it to see if it works on the user. More and more important is accessibility, that the service needs to be available to everyone, everywhere, even if you are blind or have difficulties in reading graphs or whatever it is. It should be easy to use for you. So you have to make it available, and you have to make it easy by reducing the complexity of the information and test if it's understandable. A typical process how we develop a new service is that you start with some ideas. You have an idea of how to present some new data or a new service. You start to collect user insight, existing user insight, and also to gather new insight. And you work out some hypotheses. Then you start sketching how it will look and make some prototypes. Can be very easy in the beginning, just a drawing on a paper. Presenting the concept for the team to get feedback on the idea, improving the prototypes, and start testing on users. The process, it's an iterative process. The user testing, you start testing, maybe you're just walking out on the street to talk to people and ask them about their thoughts. And you make some adjustments, and maybe you do more bigger tests, inviting people for interviews, or several methods you can use to test a new service before you implement the service. But you don't stop. It's a never-ending story, and you have to keep testing and keep adjusting all the way to make it a good service. This is also important when we are developing a new service, which viewpoint you take. For meteorologists, we are used to see the weather from above, taking the really big picture, looking at maps and looking from space and looking at model data and fields. If it were only up to us, we would probably present it like that quite often. But many users are, of course, or all users, they are there on the ground, looking at their place, looking at the sky. So they have a different viewpoint often than what the meteorologists have. So we need to adjust and present the information that the users actually need from their viewpoint. People are not the same. They have different knowledge and they have different interests. And we often use this one to separate or to figure out who the service is for, or who the new service is for. And we have two axes, one with interest to the most, from not interested to very eager weather interest. And the other axis is that you have no knowledge about the weather to very high knowledge. Most people are in the middle of this. We also try to make it more visual by placing different types of people in this diagram. And for example, a sailor man can have very high knowledge about weather and very high interest, and then you have to design a service suitable to that. But others, for example, when you have parents to small children, then you might not be very interested or very high knowledge, but you still need to know how to dress the children that day. So maybe they need different information and a different service. And I will show you a more concrete example from the EU app, where we had parents of young children in mind to make a simplified service. And it all started that some of the forecasters to the right in this picture met some of the IT developers from NRK to discuss clouds and to learn about clouds. So they were better able to visualize clouds in the app. And the idea was like this: the first drawing or sketch made on a napkin in the canteen was a phone and taking the user's view or perspective on weather. On the ground, looking at the clouds and sun and rain passing by. And how could you actually visualize that in the app? So they wanted to go from the typical math language to the left with graphs to something more naturalistic, looking more like what you see out there, making it easier to connect to the experiences people actually have. This is how it ended. If you go into the Europe and you can look at the sky, and you can side scroll through the weather that day and see the clouds and sun and rain pass by, and the rain as well. You can also choose to see a more normal table with the weather symbols or a graph, but this is a new way to present the weather. And if you don't know math or don't have a high interest in weather, it's easier to use because it looks like you see the weather outdoor. I'll give just a small insight in how they make it, because as I said in the beginning, in 2007 we opened up all our data and made them available in an API. And in the API you can find the data like you see to the right. It's machine readable, and it gives you information about the symbol, the precipitation amount, the temperature, wind direction, air pressure, and these things. And in the app, then you start, or how it's built is that you start with the sunrise and program that. You can find it in the API data for that location. And then you add the cloud cover. If it's cloudy that day, you won't see the sun at all in this visualization. And then you see if it's going to rain, and you add the precipitation and the amount of precipitation. And it looks different in the app when it rains a lot than when it's just a small amount of rain. So it gets more intense in the visualization as well. So it gives the user a feeling of how much it will rain. And on top of it, you add the temperature and the felt temperature, and also the wind speed and direction. And in the middle, you can see a text, a short text for that location, and that is automatically generated based on the weather data. And in the bottom, you can see that's only for the Nordic countries, but that is a 90-minute precipitation forecast based on the radar precipitation. I'll show you another example. This one is about nowcasting. When we launched here in 2007, the resolution was 10 kilometers times 10 kilometers. So the same forecast was presented for a square 10 by 10 kilometer, as you can see on the largest yellows in this figure. And this is around Oslo. And this example is from I think it's 2019 or 20, I'm not sure, the summer, but it was a very intense convective rainfall in Oslo. And you can see on these measurements from Netatmo that the rain shower was in the eastern part of the city. It was very wet. You have like 30 millimeters of rain in 1 hour. But in the western part of the city, it was dry, no rain at all. And if you have too low resolution on the data, and then you would have the same forecast for all these places. But from this year, we have 1 by 1 kilometer resolution, and that helps a lot in these local convective episodes to give a more precise forecast. And also in 2007, we had update of the forecast every 12 hours, 2 times a day. And now we update the forecasts every hour based on new model data. And for the nowcast, we update it every 5th minute. So that's very frequently updated. A couple of years ago, we decided to put some resources into the nowcast and improving it. And the main thought behind that was we know that many people call us or complain if the weather outdoor right now is not the same as they see in the forecast. And they lose trust in the forecast because they tell us that if you can't forecast the weather right now or the next hour, how can we trust the forecast for the rest of the day? So it's quite important for the confidence in the forecast to get it as good as possible for the first hour. And we have added a new section on here on top of the site before the forecast for the day with the weather right now. And to the right in this top box is the nowcast based on the radar data. This is an interpolation for the next 90 minutes. So you see how the precipitation moves in the radar, and then you have an algorithm to see how it will most likely continue the next 90 minutes to give a forecast for that location. And that is updated every 5 minutes. We also use that to correct the precipitation amount you see to the left or in the middle of the screen. That is also based on the radar precipitation from the forecast. And then in 2018, we started to use private observations because it's a lot of private observations in Norway and around the world. For example, from Netatmo stations. It's a very dense network. So we use all those stations. They have a quality control, so we can leave out the observations that are not good enough. And we adjust the temperature forecast in near real time. So to get the best possible temperature. estimate or forecast. And that will also feed into the symbol to update the symbol if it's rain or snow, for example. So you get the best local temperature. And very soon, they're working with that. It will be after the summer. Then we will also take into use private precipitation observations, for example, from Netatmo, to correct the radar data and the forecast for the next hour in near real time to get an even better precipitation forecast. And that will also feed into the symbol. And finally, we use webcams. We have trained the model and use machine learning to read webcam pictures to see the cloud amount. And by doing this, you can correct the symbol based on the information in the webcam to get the cloudiness also as good as possible. And we also, it's not shown here, but we also use detection of lightning. And if lightning is detected in the area close to this location, we will update the symbol to a lightning symbol based on observed lightning as well. So we put a lot of effort in doing the forecast for the next hour as good as possible. Okay. And the final part of this is just a small summary of some success criteria, how we see it. And we think that one of the main reasons for the success of YR is the collaboration with the broadcasting company. And they don't have the knowledge in the weather domain that we have, and we don't have the knowledge in user how to make good services to users as the broadcasting company have. So by working together, we can make a better service than we could have done alone, each of us. And we have, it's a daily contact between us and the broadcasting company about YR to discuss issues. And another factor is that there was a shift from one-to-all communication to more user-oriented services. And you have to develop the service for the individual user and try to take into account all the different needs. And then you have to spend time on understanding the needs of the users and how they use the information and understand it. And to do that, to make a good service, you have to test and test and adjust to make it useful and relevant. And we also see that the digitalization opens up for contact with the public. When we started in 2007 with YR and just provided all our data and very precise forecast for every hour and every location, we got a lot of feedback from the users. We got every month, and we still get it, we got almost 1,000 emails from the users. And they have something they want us to change, or an idea, or they complain. It's many things, but we try to use that feedback to develop the service. And quite recently, in I think it was in February this year, the data behind YR, the open data in our API was registered and accepted as a global digital public good by the Alliance led by UNICEF. So we hope that even more people can take into use our data and use them to create good services for the public and others that need weather data and good weather forecasts. And as part of this, we are in a project, in a pilot project with 3 countries in Africa. It's Malawi, Tanzania, and Ethiopia that we will try to collaborate with and see how we can develop good services together. That was all I have prepared, and I hope that we can have some questions or discussions from now on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anders, for this presentation. I hope this was interesting for the people attending this this session. And I see that there are already some questions coming up in the chat, but please feel free to write some additional questions, because I think we have about 30 minutes left in this session, so there's plenty of time to discuss and have a bit of Q&A about what we are currently doing, but also how we can maybe help your forecasting to be communicated through weather apps in the specific countries. So there is a first question from Marta, who is asking how many years of development it has taken to lead us where UR is today. And also, Anders, you mentioned machine learning. Do we have a machine learning experts in-house?
Yeah, how many years development? I think it started almost from the scratch in 2007. I don't think it was maybe 3 or 4 persons on NRK and Matt that was very eager and started this work. And I just think they learned on their way, and it's continued. It's developing all the time. It's a continuous work. So yeah, so it's 14 years now with UR. So we are still learning, and we changed to this new website in December last year. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. No, 4 years ago we got a new app. So yeah, we're still developing how we work and the UR service. We need to do that to be relevant. So you never know where you have to go in a few years. And machine learning, we didn't have expertise in that, but there are maybe 3 or 4 researchers working with the models that have an interest in this topic, and have started a small internal network at Met Norway to learn more about it and try to use it in developing the services. So for the specific case with the clouds, they used the forecasters to train the algorithms, and the forecasters looked through at least 1,000 webcam pictures and had to decide the cloud amount from 0 to 8. And they used this to train the algorithms to learn it how to find the cloud cover based on the webcams. Yeah.
Thank you.
So another question from it is Mohammed Osman, and he is asking, or actually saying that the UR app is huge, and the information about the weather is so frequently updated. Is this being done automatically, or is there also some individual handwork involved? And also, more generally, how many staff are operating UR generally?
Yeah, to the first, yeah, from in the beginning, in around 2008, 9, 10, we did a manual job. Then the forecasters had an opportunity to edit the model fields in the tool that they used. So they could, for example, decide to increase the wind speed by 1 before for a specific area along the coast, and then all the locations within this area would have an updated forecast on year. But then you have to do that every time the model changed, and it was really difficult for example, convective precipitation, where to put it, even for the forecasters. So I think it was from 2012, maybe 13, then the forecast chain is completely automated. So most of the effort now goes into post-processing of the model data. So using statistical methods to improve for known errors or where the model is not good enough. So we correct it and post-process the data, and then it goes automatically on the year. But still, there is some manual contributions from the forecasters, and especially the warnings are important. So when they issue a warning, and they make a text and an illustration, and that is going directly to year and presented on the website. About the staff, it's from the national broadcaster. They have a team consisting of, I think at the moment it is 13 people only working with YR, and they have their own app developers and people working backend with the data, and they have UX designers, digital designers, and everything they need to make websites and apps. And at Met Norway, it's a bit more tricky to define how many people are working with it, because at some level very many are involved. If you do work with radar data or forecasts, eventually I will end up on here, but I would say that maybe 8 to 10 persons work quite a lot with YR every day on that. So in total, maybe 20 people working with YR every day. So it's quite a lot.
Okay, thanks. And there are many more questions coming up, so that is great. And another question from Marta relating to the open data and the API that is connected to the YR forecast, asking how can NMHSs in Eastern Africa make use of the global digital public good, specifically our API. So what would be a first step in exploring what can be done with that? So maybe I can first try to answer that a little bit, and then you can follow up on anything that comes up from your side, Anders. So you briefly mentioned that we currently have a pilot project going on together with NMA in Ethiopia and DCCMS in Malawi to explore how this API, and also potentially with Tanzania, to explore how our API and the data that is accessible for everyone, basically, including forecasters and IT people from the NMHSs, how it can improve the post-processing and the actual forecast communicated to the different audiences in the respective countries. So a first step, I would say, is to explore the website that I will be posting the link to that in the chat right now, to see if that makes sense to you, anyone who is joining this session, and to see if you have any questions coming up from what is available there. And there is a tutorial as well. But at the same time, I would say, please contact us and we can try to start a dialogue and get a bit of better understanding what your current ICT capacity is and what you would actually expect from using these open data. But our general hope is, of course, that making this data open, it will well, improve your forecasts, and it will improve your services for the local audiences that you are having.
I can, if you are done, Hjalmar,
Yes, please go ahead.
I just add that since probably some forecasters here, then I can just tell that the data is from the European Center, ECWMF. So the data is of high quality. For Norway or the Nordic countries, we have a model with better resolution that is only for our area. So, but I guess that some of the NMHSs in this region have their own local models or use, for example, WRF or some model with high resolution, but probably limited to the first 2 days as we have in Norway. So from day 3 to 10, we use the data from the European Center also in Norway. So it's the same data. And the resolution is quite good, I think. I think at the moment, the data from the European Center is 9 kilometer. And ensemble data is 18 kilometer, I think. We have to check this, but it's high quality data from the European Center that is available through the API.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next question then. Abduali Abdi is asking how user-friendly is the UR app, specifically related to languages? Is it available in different languages? And also, is the UR app free to all users?
Yes. For the last thing first, it's free for everyone. And it's non-commercial because they are both Math Norway and the broadcasting company is governmental agencies and paid by the tax money, so it's without commercial. That is also that is part of explaining the first question about the languages. It's a service made for Norway from Norwegian perspective. So it's made in Norwegian. In Norway, we have 2 different but very similar languages. So they're provided on both of them. And we have some Aboriginals in the north of Norway, the Sami people, and they have their own language. So it's recently also launched on Sami, so they can use it on their language. And then it's in English, probably mainly because it's so widely used all over the world, and also for foreigners visiting Norway or living in Norway, so they can use the service. And almost every day we get an email from people that want us to translate the service to their language from all over the world. But it's complicated because it's very hard to say that we spend resources on translating the service to all different languages. For one thing is that we use it's meant to be for Norwegians, and the other thing is that it could potentially be a conflict with the local NMHSs around the world if we translate our service. We don't want to compete with the national math institutes around the world. Rather, it's better if they can use our open data and learn from how we have done it to make a good service their own. I think that would be more a peaceful solution.
Yes, I mean a peaceful solution, but also it will be, I think, sharing open data is closely connected to sharing knowledge, and we have developed certain knowledge about how to create and share open data and how to actually make use of it. But I think it's also important to communicate then that we also really would like to share the knowledge that we have built up and make it also available together with the data, because learning and using is closely connected. So then let's move on to a next question. Bahati Musilu is saying, thank you for the great presentation. And it's more of a comment, I think. And he's there's writing, I know the importance of research in developing any useful app for use by the public, and also related to what Erik Otenyo was saying in the previous presentation about website development. It's more of a comment. I don't know if there if any additional addressing is needed to that comment, but please feel free to open the mic and comment on your own comments.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Yelma and Anders. I think I pronounced that correctly. This is Bahati from Kenya, from the Meteorological Department. Thank you very much. I just wanted to emphasize the need for research. I think that's the first thing that Eric also shared this morning, and it shows in your presentation, Anders' presentation, as the first thing that is so critical before you develop anything for any public. Actually, my question, someone typed faster than I did. My question came right after that, and I asked, how do you guys handle feedback? Is it sent to you by email? Do you get it on the phone? Do you get phone calls? Do you have a toll-free number? How do you handle feedback on the app? Because Anders kept saying that you keep updating the app. And of course, when people wake up and realize whatever you said in the app is not what is actually happening out there, it brings an issue. And it's the same even in Africa. We have that problem. When we present the forecast, and it's not reflecting to what we had said would be, there's a problem. But we have a system of getting feedback from the public. So how do you guys handle feedback? And then how often do you make the necessary adjustments to the app after you have received the feedback? Thank you, Yelma.
Yes, I'll try to answer that. The main source of feedback is through the website. It's a contact form that people can fill in, and it leads to an email to us that we handle in a software, Zendesk. So, and we have people that are working, some of the forecasters, as part of their time on duty in between making forecasts. Some of them also answers the emails and answers in, we also get some comments from social media, but it's mainly through these emails. And it sums up to maybe 800 each month or something like that. And we make a summary of them every month. It's one person's responsibility to make a summary of all the feedback. And we try to see some patterns. For example, one of the reasons that we have worked so much with temperature forecasts and correcting them based on local private observations is that every winter we get a lot of feedback, people complaining about wrong temperature forecasts because of too cold in some valleys, because of cold, dense air sinking into the valleys. It's a known problem. And the temperatures along the coasts have been too low in summertime because they have been too close to the sea, and the sea is cold in Norway, affecting and the resolution was too coarse on the coast. So we have also tried to improve the temperatures along the coast based on if many people complain about the same thing over time, we just have to do something with it. Other times they can give us some new ideas, or if many people ask for lightning forecast in the map format, as they do now, then we have to try to do something with that and add that to the service. When we changed the websites in December last year, we actually got one email each minute for the first few days. Very many of them wanted the meteogram, the very compact graph, back because we didn't have it. And we just had to work with it. And it took 4 months, I think, and now we have the Meteogram back. And then they started to write us nice emails and thanked us. So that is really nice. So yeah, mainly by email, and we have people on duty to answer, but also sometimes in social media, Facebook and Twitter.
All right, thank you very much, Anders.
Okay, so then Erik Otenyo is asking, is the code open source? I think I partly responded to that already, but can you confirm on this?
No, I'm not sure. Or I know that the data is open, but the code, that I have to check. By that you mean the code making the website and the apps, or?
Yeah, but maybe I can try to explain. But the whole idea is that we're trying to have some similar kind of products, or maybe. But I think you already answered it. We can use the public API in some way to try and pull the information, and then you can see how to integrate it in some of our products. So yeah.
Yeah. I think you can find some simplified tutorials on the developer here site, how to make things. But for the apps, I know they are native apps made for specifically for Android and iOS. I don't think I think they made most of it on their own without using a known framework. So I don't think that is open code.
Okay, let's move on then from open code to visualizations. And Mullen Kenyana is asking, from the mathematical view, graphs especially, and the visuals that you showed, Anders, are these manually updated by creating the icons again, or are these icons automatically generated once updates are becoming available?
Yeah, it's all automatic. They are, of course, made manual in the beginning, the design and the visualization to make them look like real clouds outdoor. But it's just automatic updates based on the new model data. So they update every time we get new data.
Okay. Mohammed Safaldin is asking if the weather app is giving a dust forecast because there is no any model forecast available in the specific region to get a dust forecast in Sudan, where the Barcelona dust forecast app with weather chart analysis is used, but it is not enough to get the forecast 100%.
No, we have not dust forecast. We have air pollution forecasts. I just had to check on the fly here. I think it's only for Norway. Just see another location. No, for Norway we have a few more forecasts than for the rest of the world. So we have local air pollution forecasts. But for worldwide, we have UV radiation forecasts, the UV index. That is the only global forecast we have that is not a normal weather forecast. So if you go to a location where you live and look at the nearby, you can see the UV forecast, and that is also open data that that is provided by Copernicus. So they are also open and free to use. But no dust forecast.
Maybe in the future, we'll see.
I don't think we have that much dust. It's more rain.
More rain, yes. So Marta is asking if it would be possible to use services like Google Translator to actually make translations to specific languages like Swahili, Amharic, Somali, etc., Arabic language. Is that something that's currently being done? I think you referred to it with Sami, but I don't think Google is involved in.
Yeah, for Sami, we had to use experts in the language because it's a very difficult language. And even for the Sami people, it was not easy to translate all these specific words to their language. So they spent quite a lot of time on doing it. And then NRK bought a software where you could upload all the text editing software, so they could share the different texts with someone working with Sami language, and they could translate into this software. But this is not a one-time job. Every time you change something in the service or add a new feature to the service, then you have to translate it to all the languages, also Sami. So if you would provide 50 languages, it would be a lot of work to keep it updated. So we have discussed possibilities like crowdsourcing language, translating language to the service, but at the moment we have no plans to do it. So, yeah.
And it is beyond only language. We, especially in the ÖRAP, it is really a lot about symbols and storytelling that is not being done in words or text. We are actually using a lot more visualizations. So yeah, that is also an extra layer that needs to be targeted locally and in the specific local context.
Yeah.
So another interesting question is coming from Alfonsine Musanganire and asking, can the UR team be hired as an expert to develop the weather apps, and especially related to Meteo Rwanda is in the process of that. Do you have a response to that?
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to hire us because we have our hands full with too much to do. I think it needs to be done, as Hjalmar talked a little about, through this open data, some kind of partnership where we can help each other to use the data and learn from each other. So it's probably a bit longer process than just hiring someone, but maybe more useful and gives a better result.
Yeah. Yes, because also related to the project that you mentioned, Anders, and the partnerships to share knowledge and also try to mutually explore how our open data and the API can be used. It is not really a patch that can be used everywhere. It is really based on local inputs also from the local Met institutes to see what are the needs there in terms of IT capacity, the use of knowledge about coding, about use of API, and also then moving into tapping into the local knowledge of what needs are actually existing in the local society. So it's really a mutual collaboration and partnership that we think is the way forward. So it's not about hiring a service.
I also think it's important that the local or national Met institutes have the knowledge and expertise to develop the app or the website, because it's not really a one-time job. You have to update it and develop it all the time. So you need expertise.
Yeah. So I'm just scrolling through the text, and there are some more questions coming up. I think the questions about language are being answered already, and then a follow-up question about the dust forecast. Would it be possible to drive a dust forecast based on the wind forecast, for example, by setting a threshold for each grid point, depending of land cover features, and if the forecast wind exceeds a certain threshold, you can give an alert for a dust storm risk. I'm not, that's beyond my expertise, but maybe Anders, you can.
If you think based on the data in the API, I suppose you can do it if you know how to program it. I'm not an IT expert, but in EAR, it's we don't have. We have talked about it, but we don't have the possibility for personalization and push notification at the moment. But we are discussing it. So if you develop an app and allow for push of warnings or information, then you could probably allow people to set a threshold for wind and get a notification. And maybe you can combine if you have data on soil moisture or something, then maybe you can probably make such a service. In Norway, we have more challenges with blowing snow.
So that's probably also something for the future. But yes, I mean, I can imagine that would be a very interesting service for many in that area. There is a question from Marta asking if we are planning to adding any climate change visualizations to UR.
Not really climate change. We have yet another website specifically made for climate information and climate change. So that would be more suitable there. But we have plans or ideas to include sub-seasonal forecasts on there. Maybe, I don't want to promise anything, but maybe in a year or two, we have extended forecasts for a few weeks time and not just for the first 10 days. So I think that is where our focus probably will be, to extend the time range of the forecast. And climate change will, we have editorial pieces and news articles about climate change. But the visualizations and climate change information is a different website in Norway.
Thank you. I also wanted to invite Alphonsine from Meteo Rwanda, which mentioned they're developing their own weather app at the moment, and asked whether they could hire EAR. Maybe Alphonsine, at what stage are you of the development? And also, like, for Anders and Hjelmer, what would be the next step for Alphonsine now, for Meteo Rwanda to go about having their own weather app?
Thank you, Matt, and thank you, the team from you. The process has started a long time ago, but it hangs somewhere because we are not, we didn't receive what we wanted about the mobile app. It looks somehow huge. Access is not flexible, and the forecast, it's not directly connected to server. It means if I explain it well, for the forecast, we need to copy and paste somewhere for the app to retrieve it. So we wanted the company which has an expertise in this development of app to assist Meteo Rwanda. That is why I use the word hiring, because we want now to hire international company to come and develop from the scratch. Yeah, I think that's where we are now. We can't say we have now an app. The app we have is not serving as we wanted it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your comments, Alfonsine. And yes, I think also from the presentation of Anders, it became clear that also here in Norway, it has been a very long process to actually make an app successful and used, and actually in continuous interaction with the users to keep it updated and keep it relevant. So we understand the struggle that you are experiencing towards making something that is actually used and valued by your audiences. Yes, one thing that I can maybe just add, okay, I think we can try to explore having a dialogue and see a bit what can be possible in a and maybe end up in some form of partnership. So please contact us and write us an email about what your current state is around the web app development, and we can just take it from there.
Thank you, Gemma. I didn't get well the emails you sent to us. Please, can you send it to me? And I will provide it to our IT department, the chief of IT department. We wanted the international company to come here and develop a mobile app. And I know I was in the team of WMO during the mobile app awards. I know ILO was among awarded app. Is it that true? If I remember well, award 2020.
I'm not sure. Anders, can you do you have something to comment on that?
I think you have to repeat your question to me.
I said, if I remember well, during the award 2020, you was among the app received an award.
Oh yes, yeah, that's true.
So I'm happy to meet you here because I was among the team, the member of WMO, among the committee. So I'm happy to see you here and congratulations once again.
Yeah, thank you.
That's why I'm happy to receive your contacts so that we can go in touch and see if you can develop an app for Meteor Rwanda. Thank you.
Yeah, I can just add to this app development discussion that I know that one of the most difficult thing to hire in Norway is app developers. It's really, really difficult because they're so popular and expensive. So developing an app is it's maybe more difficult than making a website for mobile phones.
I think that you see there's great interest in the region to get your support to do better apps. So maybe for sure the National Meteorological Departments of the region can build on your 14 years of experience doing this.
Yeah, I think that over time it was good engagement. That's really good.
Yes, definitely. Thanks a lot for the Q&A, and I think that maybe we can just briefly answer the two final comments where Lilian Nikwenge is mentioning that in Uganda there is actually a mobile phone app that has been developed together with the Makerere University that seems to be working well. So there is also local knowledge that we can include in this discussion, which is actually great to see. And then a final question from about air quality. If there's any plan to add air quality data forecast to the EU app. As Anders was mentioning, that is actually already existing, but I think it's only for Norway.
Yes, we have an own model for Norway.
Yeah.
So UV is the only global model that we have beside weather forecast. So if there are open, good quality air quality forecast, then you can add it. But
Okay.
Hi, sorry. This is Abu Bakr from ICPAC. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, I've been asking about the air quality and the wind and possibility of dust storm driven from wind. And I just wanted to ask quick before you close the session, how computationally expensive, like in terms of computing, what are all the computing cost associated with here? Is it expensive? How do you, where is the server where you store your data and that thing? How is it costly?
For the users, it's free, but for us, it has a cost because we have to. I have no idea about the price, but first you have all the people working with it. Let's say 10 people at Meta, 10, 15 at the broadcasting. But you also have all the servers for the data. And it's a lot of users. It's not just here. We have very many users that use our data for free. But that is a cost that we take. And we also use this data in our service. It's the same data used on here that you can use. So that is kind of the guarantee for the service that it will be there because we use it on our own. But it's no cost using the data, only for us to provide them.
Yeah, my question is exactly about the cost on your side.
Yeah, but then you have to send me an email, and I have to check it. Yeah, because I know that we use Azure for the data. But yeah, send me an email and we can talk about it. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for this very hopefully valuable and quite interactive session. It was a pleasure to be part of this training week. So I just want to thank Anders once again for his time and great presentation and responding, and just want to give it back to Marta and team to take it over and continue the day. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you, Jelmer and Anders. We're really happy to have you with us.
Thank you.
And I'm sure a lot of collaboration would come from here. Okay, so our next session is continues on the same topic, actually. It's about data visualization, climate data visualization. And we're just gonna see where we are at in the region. And of course, we're planning to keep learning from all this experiences that are what just Anders and Jelmer presented. There are many organizations all over the world that have many decades of experience building apps and visualizations. So our goal is to build on this knowledge, to interact with these organizations and try to create good systems for the region. So I'm going to handle now the session to my colleagues Abu Bakr and Eric. Abu Bakr, Eric?
Yes, yeah. Thank you very much, Marta. And I think Eric is here. And it's a bit noisy today. I am at the office and they are fixing something here. I hope there is the background noise and the kicking and hitting is not bothering you so much. Now, for us, yes, we have tried our best to improve our visualization of climate data at ICPAC. We have a number of projects that come from different sections and working group at ICPAC, and we tried to put them into more easy and accessible interactive way. So previously, as Eric was explaining, when we had the old website, most of our products are PNG images, which are static and fixed, and there's not much you can do with them. You cannot zoom in, you cannot zoom out, you cannot click on anywhere on them. And users sometimes struggle really. Although the product and the quality of the product themselves are really good and useful and informative, but the way they are presented was hindering the ability of the users to benefit from them. I remember one day we had a call after we released our seasonal forecast. We had a call from a guy who's a farmer, and he's a farmer in Western Kenya. And he said he saw our forecast and he wanted to more detail about the area where he has his farm. And he said it is in Kisumu County in Western Kenya. But it was a bit hard over phone to give him like concrete information, although we have a PNG in front of us showing the seasonal forecast for that region. But now we have a better platform which is more interactive, enabling zooming in, zooming out, clicking on a particular point. It's fully interactive. So as you can see also from the EAR app and the team from Norway Met, that the value of visualization, whatever product you produce, if it is not accessible to the user in an easy way, it's really as if it has not been done. So visualization is really key and very important part of the value chain of climate and weather services, and you need to think about easy way to present your data. I will leave it to Eric. I'll give Eric the floor again, so he can walk you through our new system, which Eric led the development of it. We worked with him with identifying the data sources and thresholds and the product we put together. And yeah, I'll leave it to Eric. He can walk you through our new East Africa hazard watch system. Karibu, Eric.
Thank you very much, Abaka. Thank you for that good introduction. So yeah, so I'm just going to take the next few minutes to talk about where we are in terms of visualizing our climate information as ICPAC, and also point on the direction we are looking forward to take and some of the new functionalities we are looking forward to adding. But yeah, as you all have known by now, it usually takes quite a lot of time and effort to get like a working and, like working systems, applications, or websites, or, that convey good information to users. So we are in that process currently. We are, collecting this information, the risk information that we are displaying here, and we are also iterating over the functionalities that we have, and also looking at new possibilities of the functionalities that we like to have, and different perspectives on how to visualize or present the impacts on the forecast, and also present the alerts to the users in an easy to understand way. So yeah, the East Africa Hazards Watch is one of the products that is trying to present risk information for the region in a easy to visualize and easy to analyze kind of interface. So right now we are in the prototype beta version that it's available by the public, and the whole essence is to be able to present our users some kind of aggregated risk information from different sources or models that we have at ICPAC, and information that we also pull from our partners. So it's a very harmonized kind of platform that tries to pick or pull this information from the different models, different sources, and then present it in one interface. As you can see on the left here, we have different categories that we are monitoring as for now. We have rainfall, we have temperature, climate change, agriculture, pests, food security, drought, and floods. And if you expand one, you'll see now the specific data sets that fall into those categories. So by default, we show the weekly forecast by showing the extreme heavy rainfall data layer. And this gives you like regions that are likely to receive exceptional rainfall as compared to observations from the past, and using like the percentiles and all that calculations. We're able to, using our models at ICPAC, we're able to forecast areas that are likely to receive rainfall above some percentage as compared to the decades or weeks in that particular going back in time, that particular area. So we also show the weekly forecast in terms of rainfall, the total rainfall, and we are allowing users to, click on a point. For example, the way you do that, you go to the analysis section here, and then you choose this. You can do analysis on a boundary or also analysis on a point. So to use a point, you click on this option, then you click on any point, for example, this one, and then you say analyze, and then it will give you the information, or the predicted or forecasted rainfall at that particular point. And you can add other layers to now start seeing how they relate to other layers. For example, the weekly, this is for the total, this is the total for the week, but now this is the time series for the whole, for that particular week. So I enable this one by clicking this one here. Then it will pull the information and give me this kind of chart. So you can continue adding other layers, for example, the mean temperature for that week, and then it will give you the data for that particular point. You can have long-term observations, and I think it will give you a graph that looks like this. Just see how the temperature has been for that location for a given month in the long-term climatology. So as you continue adding more layers, you can put in, for example, the population, and you'll see the population at that particular point. It will give you the estimations. So you can continue adding, you can change the layer, opacity. For example, if I come to that long-term temperature and try to reduce the opacity, you can see in that way you're able to compare the underlying ones. I don't know if you're able to see it. Maybe I can remove the other layers. Yeah, but in this way, you are able to see like which, for example, if there's a likelihood of rainfall, if rainfall at a particular point, you're also able to see the population that is likely to be affected. As Abakar was explaining last time, I think yesterday, you can see the infrastructure, close to that point. Let me just disable some of these layers so that we can see. You can see some of the infrastructure nearby. So in the coming days, we are planning to have like something like a report generated for a point, so that you're able to have like kind of a way to describe a particular point in terms of the impact that is likely to have. So we'll be developing like matrix, the ones that we learned from yesterday, and also we will be having a new data science expert. We are excited to have him on board. He'll be joining us in the coming days. So we'll be trying to improve on how we present the impacts and the likely effects that some phenomenon or focus is likely to have on a location. So yeah, to continue with some of the data sets we have. So we are also adding new data sets on climate change. So as you can see here, we have currently information showing how the cities in our region are warming up, the global warming. So this information is being pulled from the Berkeley Earth website, which has long-term information on climate change. So this is from 1860 up to recent. So the good thing that is we are able to connect with these different sources and display this information here. The information that we don't locally produce, we try to pull from reliable sources and try to present them to our users. So this one, for example, you can zoom to a city. These are cities, and then when you click one, you'll see these kinds of graphs showing up, which give you like the monthly average and the uncertainty, by looking at those graphs. And also these other visualization, the climate stripes, they allow you to visually see, how the climate has been changing from blue to red. So the deep red is like it's above 2 degrees Celsius and above. So the more the red, the deeper the red, the higher the global warming for that particular time period. So yeah, so this is the visualization for climate change. We are looking to add more on air quality. That's why our colleague Abakar was asking on some of these things, because we are really looking on ways to learn how to do these ones from different sources. So we are connecting with different partners so that you're able to generate information on air pollution, air quality, so that we're able to visualize some of these things here together, so as to be able to make to get the whole picture by looking at different parameters. So we also have different data sets on agriculture. We have forage analysis. This is more important to the pastoralist. So this is a pilot project for this area. So they're looking forward to having this for the whole East Africa region. So by clicking on an area or a point, you're able to see the forecasted forage biomass for that particular point. This is the forecasted year, and this is the observations, how it has been. So for this point, you see that it's falling as compared to the other observations. But yeah, you can also, this is for seasonal data. So you can see the previous season and the current season. So this is good for analyzing these kinds of giving this information for a point, but you can also do for an area. So if I switch off that one and try to click, you can zoom in to get even smaller admin boundaries. And if you say analyze, it will give you the same analysis. I think there's an issue right now on that, but it will give you the analysis for the admin boundary. So maybe I can do some different data set, maybe weekly temperature. Sorry, I think there's some few issues here. Yeah, so we are still under development, fixing a few things, but yeah. So yeah, this is the analysis for that particular, I think this is still the point. So maybe I can try doing an area. Somewhere like that. And then do like the daily temperature for that particular point. And then you can see something like that. So yeah, we are still improving, we are still adding more functionalities. So continuing on some of the layers, I won't go through all of them because of time, but we have food security. This is the food security data sets for the region. We are pulling this one from the IPC. So it shows, the status of acute food insecurity in the region. So by looking at the legend, you're able to see like a place like this in South Sudan is likely to have famine. So this is pulled from the IPC. You can go to IPC to get more details, but yeah, it's really good for us to display this information. So you can overlay this one with the forecast, for example, and you're able to make some decisions based on that data. And the current we are working on currently is the combined drought indicator. So this is another project at IPAC that's working to show the state of drought in the region. So it enables you it combines different sources. It combines the SPI datasets, combines the soil moisture datasets, and also the FAPAR datasets. To get more details on it, you can go to the DroughtWatch website or system, and then you can go to the map viewer, which has more data sets specific for drought monitoring. So as you can see, this is now a specialized system for drought monitoring. So you can look at SPI information, monthly precipitation, soil moisture anomalies, and you can click on a point, view the details. But yeah, so the point here is that the hazard watch is more like now where you see the risk information. And if you need to do more analysis information, like more in-depth visualizations or analysis that is specific for drought, you now go to the specialized application that contains more information on drought or something else. Maybe it's food security, maybe it's like floods, yeah. So talking about floods, so we are also working on a way to show information on areas that are likely to be impacted by a flood condition. So this one is also a good example. Currently, we are pulling the information from the GLOFAS, which is the Global Floods Monitoring for the European Union. That's why you see it's all over the world, not only in East Africa or the IGAD region. So right now, there's nothing happening in this region, but you can see it also has information for other countries. So we are looking also to work on our models and we're able to display them here. But currently, we have information on the should be showing up here. If you click, these are the monitoring points for our model. So if you click on one, you can see the river discharge and the water levels, the time series information. So in the coming days, using these ones, we'll be able to have some kind of thresholds, and then using this information will show the areas that are likely to flood based on the information from the discharge or the model in general. So we have also information on tropical cyclones. Yeah, these are the past ones. But also something we are doing is to be able to add like real-time imagery from satellites like EUMETSAT. So this one is pulling the information from EUMETSAT directly. And so this one is good for monitoring tropical cyclones. So if there's a tropical cyclone currently brewing somewhere here, you're able to put on the satellite imagery real time from that from the EUMETSAT, and then you're able to see those kinds of how it's forming. So this is similar to our websites like Zoom.earth, how they generate how they show their satellite imagery. So if you go to Zoom.earth, they are actually using a similar kind of, they're using this similar source, which is EUMETSAT. And they can just open it quickly here. Yeah, it's they do a combination of EUMETSAT, and also there's another satellite they use from NOAA. So yeah, so we are looking to pull and integrate some kind of similar sources of information to be able to advise on and be able to get a visual sense of how these things are, the phenomenon on tropical cyclones and others. Another real-time imagery we are pulling is on precipitation from different sensors combined. This one is good, for getting the real-time precipitation amounts in some areas. So like for now, you can see that some areas in northern Sudan is experiencing some rainfall. So using the scale, you can see the amount. But yeah, this is pulled directly from the EUMETSAT satellite. So we are looking forward to add more sources, more satellite sources, more data sets from our partners, and be able to generally give information in a very integrated fashion, and be able to derive, be able to see the risk that we are facing, and also be able to show the impacts that will happen for that particular point or area based on the data and the time. So yeah, this is the basic interface we are developing. We are looking to add more functionalities. You can, for now, like change the base maps if you need to satellite imagery, dark. You can put on the boundaries. You can switch off the boundaries. You can share the current view, and if you share with someone, they'll get the exact view you are looking at. So it's good for quickly sharing on social media or colleagues. You can zoom in, you can print the current map you're looking at and also share it. So in the coming days, we are looking to add CAP alerts, common alerting protocol. So for example, instead of just having like, let me just quickly, so like an area that's likely to have heavy rainfall, and if it's confirmed that that area is, if we feel we need or there's need to send the alert, maybe from the national Mets, there's a need to send an alert, then you can have a way to show the specific areas and then show the thresholds, or using the color codes, the way other organizations are doing. So for example, in New Zealand, they use the Common Alerting Protocol to show alerts in their areas. Right now, there's no alerts, but we are looking to have a similar kind of visualization to show alerts, not only the forecast, but also the specific areas that will are impending some extreme phenomenon. So this is also another system, the GDAX for the European Union, that shows the hazards that are predicted or are shown or affecting some area. So you can see this drought a drought event, and also these are drought events based on the different colors. But you can also see the previous ones, and you can also like go to the alerts and see like a wide range for the whole region, for the whole world. There's also another one from WMO showing the different alerts for these are CAP formatted. So we are looking to have something similar that we can put on our system here, and this can pull the different alerts within the region, and they can be integrated in one platform, and then it will be easier to share to different channels. Yeah, and I think we have a session next that will talk more about CAP alerts. So we are looking forward to learning more on that, and also how to go about it, more details. And I believe after that we'll be at a better position to even now fully understand how it works and better do the integrations. So yeah.
Yes, Eric, thank you very much for great demonstration of East Africa Hazard Watch. I wonder if there are some questions. We need maybe to organize ourselves a little bit. So we have the next session is with our friend, Mr. Samuel Muchemi. He is already here with us, but we need to do questions if there are more questions, and maybe we need also to think about a bit small of a break. So I wonder, Samuel, can you allow us, can we delay a little bit, 10, 15 minutes at the start of your session, or you have other commitment? Samuel?
No, it's okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, happy.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see everybody.
Good to see you too again.
You take a break. I'm sure you've been working hard. I'm just joining in now.
Yes, welcome, and we're really happy to have you again today, and we appreciate your time and contribution with us.
Thanks so much. Okay, see you in a bit.
Great. Okay, we'll take a 10-minute break. We'll meet again. 43 past 11 Nairobi time. So 10 minutes from now. And in the meantime, if you have questions, please post them on the chat. We will be helping to answer them. If you haven't had the link and any opportunity to check East Africa Hazard Watch, I'll put the link down here in the chat. You can explore, and if you have questions later on, we'd be happy to answer. If you have a question now, it's fine with us. But for the moment, we are in a break. We'll take some break. Have a moment to grab a coffee or something to bite. Thank you.
Thank you.
right. Okay, I think our break now ended. It is already 43 minutes past 11, and to keep ourselves on the track and not lose much time, our next session is on the Common Alerting Protocol, CAP. And Samuel, the presentation on developing, on using CAPs. Samuel, please, the floor is yours, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll try to go to the very fast slide of my presentation. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, I can see. You can put it on presentation mode.
Yes.
Sometimes two screens.
Sorry, I have two screens. So
yeah, two screens.
So
sometimes
one is getting in the way.
Yeah, yeah, two screens. Yeah, now.
Yes. So now,
yes, exactly.
Now you are good. You can see.
Yes, great.
So, so good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to be here after yesterday's session. And today I'll be talking about the Common Alerting Protocol. And what I'll be doing is trying to introduce it to you. I realize that some of you probably know about it and you're very familiar with it and probably even using it. So if you have experience in CAP, maybe towards the end you can even make comments. But for those who do not know what CAP is, this introduction is actually for you. So the Common Alerting Protocol, CAP, is a data format for exchanging public warnings and emergencies between alerting technologies. And here, I'd like to emphasize on the fact that it's a format. That means that it's like a template. It's like you get a warning, whatever kind of warning. And when you write it in CAP, then it follows a certain, it gets certain properties. It has certain things it has to mention. And those are, like, for example, which is the area that's going to be affected, how bad is it going to be, how urgent is it, and how sure are the experts. So all this, whether it's a volcano, whether it's flooding, whether it's rain, whether it's strong wind or swells, they will have those properties. So that's why it's called a format or a standard. And it allows a warning message to be continuously disseminated simultaneously for warning systems to many applications such as television, radio, social media, mobile phones, websites, etc. That means when you have put your message in CAP, the forecaster in your office, and then you have to send it out. You don't have to send to the email and then have to bring somebody and put it on the website, what a lot of things. Instead, you just send it once, it goes to everyone at the same time. So, and then it goes in a consistent way. Everybody gets the exact same message, and you can do it in different languages. So, why should a med service adopt CAP? First of all, this is something that WMO members have already considered, and in Congress in 2015, they came up, they agreed that there should be a format. They didn't necessarily say CAP, but then the Executive Council, which sits after Congress, did zero in on CAP and decided that CAP should be the solution that Congress is looking for. It was approved for inclusion in the WMO technical regulations. Once something is approved for WMO technical regulations, it could be like mandatory or a recommendation. Okay, CAP would be a recommendation, but it's a good idea to follow those recommendations. And the Regional Association one, that's Africa Regional Association, also has agreed to it. The other reason is that it makes warning tasking very easy, and teaching and it's reaching many people through different media simultaneously.
Sorry, someone.
Yes.
Yeah, someone. Sorry, I
Yes.
think the sound is a bit breaking. For me, I think one of my colleagues also confirmed that it is breaking for him. Could you come please near your mic, or the mic is close?
Mic is here, so.
Your mic is up there.
Should be working.
You should
Actually,
be working.
I used to have, is it still breaking now?
Now it's a bit better. Do you have anything interfering near you?
Not really, no. Maybe the internet itself. I don't know. Right. Is that better now?
Now better. Now better, yes.
Okay. Fine. Okay, let me continue. Hoping that all works well.
Yes.
So it makes the warning task easy, reaching many people through different media simultaneously. It avails warnings issued by Met Services nationally, so you can use it for your users nationally, and also it avails warnings issued by the Met Service internationally. And for that, it's very important. Like, for example, WMO is developing what you call the WMO Global Alert, multi-hazard alert system. And this is where it's a platform, if you like, where all the warnings from all members of the world will be collected at one place. And the good thing about that is that we'll have a portal where organizations like other UN organizations that intervene when problems occur, you have a place to go, and they know where to check for any warning anywhere in the world. So they've been asking for this kind of, so this is a solution. Once you're in CAP, your warnings will find their way there. So here I'll try to explain a little how CAP works. So CAP enables warnings to be structured and broadcast simultaneously across all communication channels. So if you look at this diagram, you see like it deals with all kinds of warnings. So you have storms, you have earthquakes, tsunami, fire, volcano, and then you have this. It's like a form or a template. This is where you enter the properties of that warning in a given way. So that's the protocol. And then once you've done that, you click once and it goes to sirens, to radios, to television, to fax, to cell phones, etc. So the message is coded in XML, which is a computer language, which enables machines to understand and broadcast the message. So it can broadcast, it filter. So this is why it is powerful. In that it enables machines to do a lot of work automatically. And also, although we mention XML, it doesn't mean that you have to be good at XML to be able to use CAP. Because the XML, you will have, if you're a forecaster in a Met service, you don't need to understand the XML to code the warning in CAP format. Because there will be a human readable interface that is provided. It's just like if you have to complete a questionnaire or on the website. That website will be in HTML, which is running behind. But what you actually see is a form that's easy for you with blanks for you to fill. It's more or less like that. So I'm just going to describe how a CAP warning would look like using the example from Tanzania, and you can see first and foremost that there is an identifier. This identifier, you can see the series of numbers. It enables us to see, it enables us to see where the warning is coming from. Like for example, this shows that it's a warning, 249, that it has to do with WMO alert, because WMO we have WMO register of alerting authorities. It means that it is there. 0, that's a country. And 834, this is 834 is the number for Tanzania. 0 is for TMA, and this is the dates. These are the dates, the hours. So there's the date and the hour, yes. And then the sender is always a web, an email address, and there's the time. Status is actual. It could be just a test, or could be something else. A message type is an update of a warning that had been issued earlier. Scope, it's public. It could also be restricted. References. So the references, and the language is English. Category is meteorological. It could be volcanic. It could be anything else. Event, strong winds and large waves. Response type is to prepare. It could be to be on the lookout, it could be just to be aware, but now here it's to prepare. Urgency, it's expected. Severity, moderate, it could be extreme, or just minor. Certainty, it's likely, or these others it could be going on now or ongoing. So this is the time when the warning comes into effect, and this is when it expires. And the sender name is Tanzania Meteorological Authority, and headline, yellow advisory, strong winds and large waves. And then here is the details for the warning. So this is where you put all the words that you want to describe it in a free way, what the warning is about. And then instructions, what to do. They're there. Where, if you want it on a website, the contact in case you have questions. And then the area. You have the area, it's written in the words like Lindi, Twara, Pwani, etc. But there's also a polygon that describes that area. And you can see it here in this map, this one in yellow. So you see, it has a lot of inside it. It has all the details that you would require for a warning. So CAP implementation in Africa, this is where we are at. And we can see that these are the countries: Algeria, Senegal. Senegal, there's a question mark at the moment. But Kenya, Tanzania, Malawi, Madagascar, Zimbabwe, Botswana, South Africa, and Lesotho. These are the countries that so far, you can say, have CAP. I would like to know from the participants whether there are other countries that I have left out. So WMO has started what you're calling a CAP fast track. We'll be writing to you soon. And the idea is to get about 90% of the countries in Africa to implement CAP by 2024, which is not far. So far, we have a very small percentage. 10 out of 54 is like 20% so far. Get at least 25 countries implement CAP by by December 2021. So far, this figure is actually 9 countries, because there has been changes since I did this slide. It's 9 countries, because there should be 10, but I have a question about Senegal. Have fully implemented nearly completed the process. So you could be asking yourself, well, CAP is very good, but how do you get to do it? So the very first step is contact WMO for guidance and assistance. We have a program we call in WMO, through which we assist members. Right now, actually, for Africa, we are really set, seeing that we have an intention of having this year about 20 more countries, in addition to what we already have implemented CAP. It means that if you really want to implement CAP in your country, this is the time. You contact me and I'll get things rolling. So you can try to grab that chance. Ensure that the management, this is very important. In wanting to implement CAP, how does a Met service go about implementing CAP? That's a question we are asking. And one of the important points is that you ensure that the management or senior staff of the Met service agrees and supports the implementation of CAP. Our experience is that we sometimes train people, but the part of training are technical, but not necessarily the decision makers in a Met service. They're not the ones who decide this is where we're going to put emphasis, this is where we're going to put personnel. These are the outcomes that we want. No, they are more or less like the people who do the focusing. They come in the morning, shift, blah, blah, and you are the one nominated to do CAP. So you go home with the knowledge, but you can't apply it because somehow things have not been set in motion. So one of the things that we're trying to do is to get the management, senior staff, Met services to agree to support the implementation of CAP. Another point is the question of standard operating procedures. We may have training in CAP done, the support even from senior management, and the system is in place. That means, by that, what do I mean? I mean, you have an editing facility or interface for coding, you have warning in CAP. You have a place either in the cloud or in a server in your Met service where your warnings go. That's, we call it that, CAP source. And you have even probably edited the WMO register of rating authorities and put the necessary details there. So everything is set. But then in reality, what happens is warnings will be written in the Met service when there is a hazard. But those warnings will never be put in CAP. Why? Because it's not in the standard operating procedures. So in a Met service, especially in forecasting office, should be having standard operating procedures, and then they already exist because there is the things that you do, but then you need to ensure that CAP is added there. So this is another area that we'll be emphasizing on. The other thing to do when you want to implement CAP is to use WMO guidance materials on CAP. We have a lot in the library, and use WMO e-learning platform. We have developed a WMO e-learning platform. I don't know whether it works. Oh, yeah. Are you able to see the website I've just opened?
Yes, you can see it.
Yes. So since I'm going to share this presentation, you have all the links, and you can come here. When you open this e-learning platform, with the introduction, and then you can go to, there are different modules. There is the there's guidelines of implementing CAP alerts, there's issuing CAP alerts, advanced CAP concepts and customization resources, blah, blah, blah. And then what's good about it is that when you come here, you will get to register for the course you want to take. And then when you go to CAP Basics, you will read OCAP. This is all very simple. It's just a question of giving it a little time. And then when you go through the course, there'll be some questions. You answer those questions, puff, you get a badge showing that it's some kind of certificate, if you like, a very simple one, showing that you have completed your CAP Basics. You have a WMO certificate for that. And then you can do it all by yourself. And then back here in WMO, you'll be able to see that so and so has gotten this badge. You go into our database. So so that's I just wanted you to have that. Are you able now to see? I've come back to the presentation itself. Are you seeing the presentation? Or still seeing?
Yes, I'm seeing the presentation.
Okay, thank you. So these are the actions for CAP implementation. Don't worry about this slide. It will have a lot of things that you're not familiar with, but you will understand after you have gone through the training. Like, for example, if you go to the e-learning platform that I've just shown you, a lot of terminologies here that are quite unfamiliar to be familiar to you. So these are the actions. So you learn some basics of CAP, consider tools to convert warning inputs into CAP. That's a CAP editor. Get a mapping tool. When you read, you'll see what that is actually. That's a tool that allows you to create, you remember that demarcation that I was showing that was yellow in the example I was showing for the Tanzanian warning. There's a mapping tool for doing that kind of thing. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about today. Implement the CAP alert source, that is where you load your CAP warnings so that they're accessible to other people. Publish a CAP alert news feed. The way CAP is transmitted is that you provide it somewhere as a news feed, and if there's an organization or people you're working with, radio stations, etc., who want that, they just go there and they subscribe, and they will be getting alerts. Every time you send an alert, it just goes to them automatically. So you register an alerting authority, that is like the Met service itself. It's a simple process. You may not be familiar with it right now, but some of you probably. But it's easy. Once you start, you'll be guided. Choose an internet host for CAP source, etc., and develop public outreach and education, because you need to educate, especially your stakeholders and also the public. Find a way of educating the public. So these are links to the Register of Alerting Authorities. Just to show you, this is just to show you what a Register of Alerting Authorities, WM Register of Alerting Authorities. I'll take one of the countries that is participating. Any country. Let me take Kenya, the host. So you see Kenya, this is the Kenya Meteorological Service. It's 249. Okay, you remember this OID, the object identifier. You remember that we were seeing a similar one in the warning that was issued by Tanzania, the example that I showed. So this is so this is for Kenya. And if you open, you will see that this is the page that is supposed to be edited by an editor of the register from Kenya, nominated by the PR. And he is the one who includes, for example, the link to CAP feed, that is where the CAP alerts are, the URL for the CAP alerts. And this is the one for Kenya. So that's just an example. So if we go back, and then this is to show, this is the page for the editor of the register. So they would have to put their email and their password and then select their own country, and then they go ahead and do the editing. So thank you. This is just an introduction. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yes, thank you very much, Samuel, for very interesting and informing presentation. And now we can go to the question. I saw a question earlier from Bahati from KMD, and she mentioned that maybe the format of the Tanzanian CAP look a bit different than the one from KMD. I wonder, Bahati, do you want to clarify more? If so, open your mic and ask.
Okay, thank you, Abdullahi. Thank you, Mr. Moshemi, for your very elaborate presentation. It's a very simple question because the format I see on our alerts is very different from what we give as the Kenyan Meteorological Department. Maybe I was just wondering, is there a standard format?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. Yes. There is the standard format. In fact, there's even an organization that ensures that this standard is maintained. It's called OASIS. But then the reality on the ground is that you'll find that some descriptive words are not necessarily always stuck to by all the Met Service. For example, if you look at a CAP message from Australia, for instance, because I have seen them from the fire department, it's got some particular that make us, because we have to understand that CAP is a standard, yes, it's a new standard, but before it is introduced to a Met Service, the Met Service has been interacting with their users over the years, and they have already developed some terminologies that they would sometimes find hard to get rid of. So they use that as an equivalent of what is in the CAP standard itself. So this is allowed to a certain extent. So you may have some small variations, but not major. Is that a good answer? Or rather, did you get my answer?
Yes, I did get your answer. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. If you have a question, please put it on the chat, or if you want to ask verbally, please raise your hand. And until then, maybe I can ask a quick question about the. You said if countries would like to start to implement CAP, they should write to WMO. So maybe you can just stress a bit on that. So they write through their normal channel, the International Relations Department or communication with WMO, or they should address it to a certain department at WMO, or how that process usually goes?
The normal way is that they would write to the Secretary General, because normally it's the PR who is writing to the Secretary General. But for now, you can copy me, because I'm the one who has been given the focal point now for this. Now that you have that knowledge, it will be faster, because I'm aware. But even if you don't copy me, it goes to the registry. It will come to me anyway at the end. So that's the way it works. But if you have already started the process, you're going on, you don't even have, if like we did recently with some countries, we didn't even have to go through the formal ways, because in many countries, letters have already been written many years ago, and this process was started, but it didn't go very far. So without having to write again, you can just contact me and we will just take off.
Great, this is really great news. So all the Met Services, now you are aware that if you are not implementing CAP yet, you can reach directly to Samuel, and we can share with you his email if you don't have it. And any help from our side, we will be also available to support. But
okay, just to add, let me know what the problem is. If there's a budget issue, let me know. Or if it's a question of you want somebody to come to the Met Service to assist you, we can organize that. We have people with knowledge from the region. We don't have to get somebody from Europe or from where. We just get someone from one of the countries you saw there, come to your Met Service if you need that kind of help. and you'll be happy.
Yeah, great. This is good news. Please take note of that and bring it up with the management at your National Met Service. So inform them about this possibility, and let's roll it out so we can even support the WMO goal of covering all Africa by 2024, right, Samuel?
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing I want to hear.
Exactly. Please take note and bring it up with the management. And if you need help, the help is available. So yeah, there is no reason for it not to happen.
Yeah.
And okay, I see a question from my colleague Eric Oteno in the chat, but Eric, you can come live and ask your question. Please unmute and come.
Yeah, my question was basically on the mandate. You'll find that maybe at a given country, the national Met is not at a position to publish, an alert. It has to discuss with other authorities managing disasters or something like that. What will be the ideal process of, following this process to have it in CAP or something?
Yeah, that kind of challenge was already foreseen. And that's why we have the WMO register of alerting authorities. If Met is not an authority for issue, then there must be an authority. But there's somebody in Met who can edit that register and put that in there. And also at the national level, the country should be able to work with the organization that has that mandate, so that they also get the training to know how to do CAP, and they can do it themselves. So that should not be an issue, or you can have an understanding. Like I know for some countries, they have an understanding between the Met Service and the disaster management that if it's not a very serious warning, it's a yellow warning, or orange warning, if you know what I mean. The Met Service can do it. But if it's a red warning, then it has to be done by the disaster management or Office of the President. So it's a question of what solution the country itself can hammer out between themselves, and then you just get the things through.
I also have a follow-up question on this. Are the disaster risk management authorities in the countries also familiar with the CAP protocol and how to approve the alert issued maybe by the National Meteorological Department? Do they also get training, or like or do they use different protocols, or?
No, the protocol is for everybody, including the disaster management in the country. In fact, at the UN level, we just like 3 weeks ago, 1 month ago, we issued what we are calling call to action. That is to CAP call to action. That is to implement CAP. And it's a jointly issued statement by WMO, ITU, UNDRR, and IFRC. And concerning the IFRC is the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent. They have also been implementing CAP actually. They are quite advanced in CAP implementation. Just as WMO is working with the members, IFRC has been doing that as well. Yeah. So even some of the local offices in countries, small ones, Red Cross, they already are doing it.
All right, great. Eric asked again, I think. He said, can non-national NMSH, National Meteorological Organization like ICPAC can also, for example, join and register in this platform and issue alerts?
The alerting issue is it's not that straightforward. It's when you issue an alert, you take a lot of responsibility. You issue an alert, and teachers will not go to school, kids will not go to school, a road will be closed. There are consequences. So you have to have the authority. And if you have the authority, you know you have the authority. If you don't have that authority, then you cannot issue a warning. What ICPAC can do is work closely with the Met Service to ensure that you are advising the Met Services so that you can help, for example, in the implementation of CAP in the Met Services, and also ensuring that Met Services have the necessary information and guidance material to develop warnings. I don't know whether ICPAC has got the mandate to issue warnings, but normally a mandate to issue a warning is normally a national issue. It is national authorities that normally do that. I don't know whether that is a good enough answer.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay.
Anyone else would like to ask if they can come in?
Yes, Dr. Walker, I have my hand raised. I don't know whether if you see it.
Welcome, Karibu.
Thank you, Samuel. Abdiwali from ICPAC. Thank you for the presentation. I know that we have DRM focal points across IGAD region and in Africa. I know that they also report the Sendai framework, which is kind of mandatory for all signatories.
Okay.
Congratulations, first of all, to those countries who reported to the CAP. And I wonder if WMO could also have maybe country level focal points to push for this CAP, because this is up to the governments to do, not only, the Met Office, which is part of a government authority under a certain ministry, or, it's its own. Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, we have already drafted a letter that should be going to the Met Services soon for them to appoint a focal point for CAP. As you know, the permanent representative of a country with WMO represents the whole country. It's not just the Met Service. So they're free to get an editor, for example, or a focal point from anywhere. Normally, they also happen to be the heads of Met Services, so they normally tend to go for people from the Met Service, which is okay. But as far as WMO is concerned, our entry point is through the PR, and that's why you find that we are normally communicating through the Met Services, because PRs also happen to be the heads of Met Services. I don't know whether I have answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much. Okay. I totally agree. And I know some challenges also, in regards to this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yes, great. Thank you very much. There's a question from Christopher, but I didn't get it. It seemed like a follow-up for another question. It's in the chat. Christopher, can you unmute and ask your question?
No, I was Christopher, yeah?
Yes, Christopher.
I was answering somebody because they were saying if everybody's allowed to post their CAP, but I have just text to indicate that you don't. It's not the composer who sends the text. There is an approver. It has to be approved so that it goes. That was my text. Yeah. I was trying to answer. Yeah.
So thanks for making that clear, Christopher. Thanks so much. For me, I can just emphasize that, as I said, when you issue a warning, there are consequences, and somebody has to take responsibility. So it's the Met Service organizes itself and decides who is the person who decides that a warning at this level can be issued to the public or can be issued to the disaster management or to other stakeholders. Who is that person? Normally, it is not the forecaster. It is probably somebody in a higher, could be the director themselves or some other senior person who will be the approver. So after considering everything, they decide, yes, we can issue this. We can issue this focus, because when the questions are asked, why did you issue a warning that was obviously wrong? The question will come to them. So yeah, so that's how it works, and that's why we have, like for example, for one of the CAP setups that we have, cloud-based editor CAP system, we have in the system a group of CAP editors. They will do the we don't call them we don't call them editors. Okay, they edit the form. So we have the people who write the CAP message itself, but we also have the approvers who have the authority to approve.
Right, thank you very much. I hope that is clarified. You want to comment? Before that, if you have a comment, after that we can go to, I see a hand raised from Noah, Adam from Sudan.
Yeah, but Noah can go and then I'll comment later. Yeah.
Oh, all right, okay. Please come in, yes, Noah.
Hello?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. My question is there any more clarification or information about the CAP? Because as we know, we need to have more understand about this new method or new technology to discuss with our top management about what we have, what the capability and how we can use this thing, and exactly what the stuff we need to have, and what the skills and what's the qualification, and how this how the WMO support us in this side. So before to go ahead and communicate with your side about this issue, or only the website or the learning can give us this information. I hope my question is clear.
Okay, that's a good point. The Secretary General has written, I think, a few times to Met Services about CAP. So if you need background information and the fact that there's a recommendation from WMO, there are letters already that exist. In addition to that, as I said, we have this CAP initiative that we have started, CAP Fast Track. So for that, we are going to write a letter. There's a new letter now, just on top of the ones that have been written. So that would be a good entry point. Otherwise, if you want to do something, you feel that you want to be a champion of CAP in your Met service, just write to me and we take it up from there. I'll provide you with the necessary background information, and then we can start.
Right. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, great, thank you very much. Okay, I will let Eric come, and then we will go to Abu Bakr and Alphonsine.
Yeah, thank you very much, Abakar. I just wanted to comment on the steps we are looking at ICPAC to take in the coming days as an effort to also contribute to the uptake of the CAP protocol. So we have some IT capacity to try and prototype something that can be used by the national Mets to the editor, for example, the mapping tools. We can try to prototype something as part of our effort to contribute to having a CAP alerting way or system integrated for the region. So maybe in line with the WMO in the coming days, we can see on how to try and start developing something, passing the information to the national Met and generally working together, because as part of the Hazards Watch, we were thinking to be able to aggregate this information as part of the visualization so as to be able to display the alerts that will be generated from the, the specific countries, for example, in the region. So we will be looking forward to working together, trying to come up with something in line with the WMO standards and the CAP alerting protocols to have something that we can start developing that can, take the conversation forward, and then we can work together to achieve an integrated kind of alerting protocol for the region. Yeah. So my comments, Abubakar, if you want to add anything.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, I think, yeah, from our side, we would be happy maybe to see a way that we reflect the caps that are issued by the National Met Services. Because as Samuel explained, that for us might be challenging.
Abubakar, I think we lost
because
you.
we are with some, huh? Yeah,
lost
that's a
you
bit
for a
tricky.
moment.
But yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I was saying that.
Oh, we lost you again.
As someone explained, it might be challenging for us. So the
You got lost.
Hello, Abubakar, can you hear us?
Oh, it's not good today. Let Abubakar, can you come?
Thank you.
Sorry, Eric. You can take over, Eric.
Okay, yeah, as maybe we can hear you, Abubakar. Do you want to say something before?
No, okay. I want us. I was saying that we can do it the other way around. We take from the member state which are authorized to issue a cap for this at this stage. Samuel, maybe you. You want to comment on that, Alphonsine?
Yes. I have an idea. I think I understand what you're saying, although you're getting cut. You're saying that ICPAC could be some kind of hub for collecting warnings from your members. Is that what you mean? And then you have a display system.
Yes, we already have the system, and the system is up, which is East Africa Hazard Watch. Okay. And as you said, we don't have the authority as ICPAC to issue warning, maybe.
Yeah.
So we can do it the other way around. That's what I was saying.
Yes. I think that's what you can do. Actually, you can. I think working with somebody like Abubakar, are you there? I think we would know how you can get the URLs. That's the alert. That is the news feed. And then from there, once you get them, then that's it. You can display, because they are available already for those countries that I mentioned.
Great. Well, that's well noted. Okay, let's hear from Abubakar Longo. Please mute yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Sam, for your good presentation. First, I want to comment on Abubakar's question that if they can be the aggregators of the warnings in the region. Yeah, in my opinion, I think that is okay, because even the SADC CSC is doing almost the same. It's not exactly the same, but it can, in my opinion, I think it can be done also in this region. I want to ask about the Google Public Alert.
Yes.
Currently, when we push a warning to the CAP system, we can only see them on the WMO website, the one which you shared yesterday, but not on the Google Public Alert. And they say that there is a procedure to follow so that to get our warning is seen on the Google Public Alert. Okay. Are you aware of it? Is it free or something like that?
For sure it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is free. I'm sure they want it. What I don't know is the details of how to go about it, but that I can find out.
Yes, we also. Yeah, we also put it on our to-do list, Abubakar, to send you like a step-by-step. We've been very busy with the training, so we haven't been able to send like step-by-step guidance on how to go about Google Public Alert, but we will, or this afternoon or tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
And Samuel, and you can also add to whatever we send. You will also receive the email.
Or in fact, you copy me because I'd like to.
Of course, yeah,
like,
of course.
Because I'm in the secretariat. I'm
Of
not
course.
in the operations,
Yeah.
so
Great.
there are quite a few things that I may not necessarily be aware of. But when I get the information from you, they will fall in place.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, the other one, I think if that is covered, satisfied me, we can go to Alphonsine as a comment.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Alphonsine.
Yeah, thank you, Sam, for the good presentation.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you very well.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to let you know about the implementation of CAP here in Rwanda.
Yes.
Meteo Rwanda. Meteo Rwanda is in the process for a long time ago, as you may know.
Yes.
But the only challenge we have is that the mandate of area warning is under the minister in charge of disaster management.
Okay.
And we are in different minutes.
Okay.
As we are in the Ministry of Environment.
All right.
So we are in the process of having them as approval of the message. But they are aware, we have contacted them, and even the last training we are together, the training conducted by TMA here, we are together with their team. The challenge is the administrative problems. Otherwise, we are still negotiating with them, and we have the portal already on our website. When they are ready to approve the message, we will start sending the message on our CAP web portal. Thank you.
So you want to be develop? You want to be? Sorry.
Meteo Rwanda would be composer of the message.
You'll be composing. Yes.
Yeah. Then the Minema.
Yes.
Will be approving the message.
Okay. As it happens, good. Thanks for the update. As it happens, Rwanda is actually on the list of the countries that we are going to be approaching next. So it's good I have this update, but I'll be in touch very soon.
Yeah, maybe you can advise what I can tell my DG.
Yeah.
On the BMO side, how we can update you, or if you can write official email letting you the progress, or if the other advice you can give us. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Thanks. I think very soon I'll be contacting.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Alphonsine. And I see that even Abdouali has commented on the chat. ICPAC may also champion implementation of CAP at policy levels in the member states. So yes, absolutely. With the support of WMO, we are completely committed to support the implementation of CAP in the 11 countries that ICPAC covers. And as Eric mentioned before, we will soon have 3 developers, 3 programmers with us on staff. So we do have the capacity to support countries as well from a technical point of view. Yeah.
Okay, that's very, very good. That's very good to hear. Yes, we'll be contacting you too. We'll be contacting ICPAC so that we see how we can go about this. Okay.
Any more questions for Samuel on CAP, on its implementation, doubts? I want to stress once more how important it is that we adopt these international protocols, because like the weather or the climate doesn't stop at the border. It's important for countries near you to know which alerts you have issued as well as national authority. They might be interested in knowing whether they're experiencing the country next to them is experiencing an extreme weather event. So it's really important that we harmonize a little bit these warnings and these alerting systems. It will also make your life so much easier, right? Like if your alerts are displayed, for instance, on Google Public Alerts, any citizen from your country that opens a Google browser or a Google Maps will see the alert. Exactly. Some of this, exactly, it will really facilitate your life, and the information will get to the citizens, which is what we want, right?
Very good.
More questions? I don't know if there is any more. Looks like we are through with them. Yeah, I think we covered most of the questions.
Yes.
But yeah, if there are no more questions, we can wind up this session. And we really, as my colleague was saying and someone is saying, I really wanted us to take this. This opportunity not only just to learn, but to move the needle further, the needle of climate services in the region further. As yesterday, I concluded by summarizing. After you left, Samuel, yeah. I think we stayed long.
Yes, I excused myself.
Yeah, we understand. Now we understand, and it was really helpful for us and for all the technical colleagues from the National Met here. And then I summarize what you said, that we really need to bring the discussion as a learning and also as action to improve at the National Met Services. Exactly. So yeah, our conclusion was that they bring the issue of improving the dissemination of climate information, including the right competence and the technical staff, whether they are designers, web developers, those new competence that are needed also to support and improve climate services and dissemination of climate information, climate and weather information. So today we take another action on working on the CAPs, and you will get all the support you need either from the WMO or whatever help we can provide from ICPAC. So let us take it as a learning mission and also as an action mission. So this is what I wanted to conclude with. If you are
very well put. More. Yeah. No, really. I think you have said it very well. Yeah. Let's move the needle.
Yeah. I'm talking about needle because I just got a job of
you did.
Just 5 minutes ago. So the needle comes to my mind. So yeah, this is from my side. I leave it to my colleagues if they have comments, or Samuel, if you have any comment.
No, not really. Just feel free.
If not, then you can call it a day.
Yeah. If you don't know what to do about CAP, just write to me and then we'll take it up from there.
There are requests for sharing your presentation.
Yes, I will definitely share that.
Yes, and maybe email would be also helpful. We can throw it here, or we can put it from our side. Maybe we can do it from our side also. Share your email if they want to write to you.
Okay, very well. Thanks.
Okay, so thank you so much again. And I think we're done for today. Thank you, Samuel, for joining us again today. For the participants, we're seeing you tomorrow for the last day of training.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Good afternoon to you too.
Bye. Bye.